Alright, what's up YouTube? Going to be showing you guys how to play the guitar solo from this song Whispering Silence by As Lay Dying. Got some positive feedback on my cover I did. Be more than happy to break it down. First I'm going to roll a clip of me playing it up to speed. So this song comes off the band's last record, Awakened, which is all over the place in terms of guitar tunings, but for this particular song, it's in drop C sharp, or for our purposes really E flat standard, because that note doesn't get touched in the solo at least. Don't use my guitar as the Bible. This is not a locked-in Floyd Rose type guitar. This can be perfectly in tune, but I'll play the notes from high to low, that if you want to match just where you are. E flat, B flat, G flat, D flat, A flat. And whether you want to be at E flat on the bottom or C sharp is completely up to you. Let's get started. Alright, so for lick 1, the solo kind of starts out with this big flurry of notes. We're going to break that run up into two, lick 1 and lick 2. So for lick 1, here's the first portion of that run. One more time. Really just did that for myself because I kind of missed the pitch harmonic the first time around. Okay. So it starts off, we'll start off with the very first measure. So for that, we'll be starting on the 7th fret of the G string, start with a little vibrato. And then next, you're going to want to play that note palm muted twice. Kind of take this palm muted technique down to the highest strings. So, and then a pinch harmonic. Find that nice little sweet spot. Different on every guitar, so look for that. What'll be tough about teaching this is I'll probably miss that pinch harmonics a few times because that's just kind of tough to get them perfect every time. But and then the last two notes are, which are 7 on the G and 5 on the B. And for that one, I tend to slide up because there's a flurry of notes coming that kind of sounds cool if you slide to. Okay, so far we have next run. Real simple here. 4 sets of 8th notes. So let's break it down into each of the 4 sets. First 4. Pull off from 6 to 5 on the B string. Then 7 on the G. Then 5 on the B again. Next 4, same kind of pattern here. Pull off from 7 to 5 on the G, play 7 on the D, and then back to 5 on the G. So these two together. Make sure to use alternate picking. Last 2 sets. First one sounds like this. So for this one, we're starting on the D string here. Pull off from 7 to 5, then slide from 5 to 3, and hit 5 on the A. So what it sounds like is this. So you only pick the 7 on the D and the 5 on the A. Last 4. What all this is 5 on the D, 5 on the A, 3 on the D, 5 on the A again. So it's kind of like a pivot. And you could bar that I guess here. But what I choose to do is play ring finger 5 on the D, middle finger 5 on the A, and then index 3 on the D. So all together real slow, it's going to sound like this. That time I did bar it, so I guess it really depends on my mood. You can bar it with the ring finger probably, or either one works. And the whole lick, if you include that first measure we talked about, Alright, so lick 2, just a continuation of this same run. Really catchy one if you ask me. Goofy head movements, optional I guess on that one. So we finish off here. So we're going to start by sliding into 7 on the D. Hold that for a quarter note. And it's going to then be muted twice. So, just putting it all together in context. That's how we're starting. Next, what we're doing here is pivoting off the 7 on the G. So it's going to go. So the 7 on the G is unmuted, and then you're back to muted again on the D. Next is a slide. 5 to 7 on the G. Make sure to slide. That really kind of makes it. Last 5 notes of this lick. A little tricky. So we'll start with the fretting. It's 8 on the B, 7 on the G, 6 on the B, hammered on to 8 on the B again. That's the first 4 notes. And the trick here is once you hammer on to 8, you have to bend it up a full step and then stop it. So my key there, I guess I kind of just like throw my hand on the strings because otherwise you don't want this. Because that's not the lick. The whole point is like that catchy little stop. It's tricky. I don't even get it every time when I play it to this day. And I recorded a cover this a year ago. So, all together. Alright, so lick 3. Very, very fun one to play. So, as you may recall, we left off lick 2 like this. So the key transition in between lick 2 and lick 3 is to wait a beat. It's a little bit of a rest. Sorry, I better fuck that up, but. And what that note is a 10 on the G string. Make sure to slide to that, really makes it. Next 3 notes, what those are 12 on the G, 12 on the D, and then slide into 12 on the D again. Not really sure why it sounds better that way, it just definitely does. Don't quote me on it, but I believe in the recording it's a slide. But either way, to me, it definitely sounds better. So, next notes. What that is 12 on the D, 9 on the G, followed by this 3-note pattern. What that is 10 12 to 9 on the G, and then 12 again on the D. And rhythmically, that's just 2 16th notes and an 8th note. Gives that little bounce. And then the last 2 notes are 9 on the G and 10 on the D. So that whole section, put together, what we have so far is. Next notes are really fun to play. So we have 7 on the D slide up to 12, and then another rest, kind of like same idea. Rest. And this next lick just fucking makes the whole solo. So what we have is, first we have the 7 up to 12 on the D, and then we have a pinch harmonic on 7 on the G, and then you slide down to 2 on the G. So I know it's a little confusing, so here's what it'll sound like. So that's 7 up to 12 on the D, and a pinch harmonic 7 down to 2 on the G. And the key there is to rest in between. Alright, so the last notes of this lick, all on the D string. So the first two are palm muted, 5 and 3. And then this little flurry of 16th notes, all hammer-on pull-offs. 3, 5, 3, 2. All equal notes too. It's not like it's so. And the last two notes are just 3 and 2. So now from the slide section, and now the whole lick together. Alright, so lick 4. Very fun one to play. So, as you may recall, we ended lick 3 here. So make sure to give this first note out the gate a good slide and some heavy fucking vibrato, because it definitely deserves it, and that's definitely how they play it here. That note being 5 on the A string. So the next two notes are a slide up to 8 and back down to 5 on the A string. My bad. And make sure to pick that. It's not. It's. Next notes. 8 slide up to 12 on the A. Then 12 on the D. So if you're a theory guy, you might kind of recognize that as a little bit of a triad. And then the last 4 notes, 9 on the G, 12 on the D, and then 9 hammer on to 10 on the G to finish it off. And the last important thing to point out there is that every time, the 2 times that I play 12 on the D, I'm actually palm muting it. So whole lick. Lick 5. Time to do some fucking shredding. Chances are, if you struggle with this solo, this is the lick that will challenge you. To this day, I still play this thing sloppy all the time. It requires a lot of precision. So here's what it sounds like. One more time. Let's break this thing down. So they're all 16th notes, very simple rhythmically. The catch, however, is that there's actually a rest before the very first note. So it's not on the downbeat. So as you recall, we left off here. Da 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 da. That's how it starts. So that's the key. Don't start on the downbeat. Give it one 16th note rest. So the notes. Let's get into the fucking notes. 12 on the D string. 9 slap to 10 on the G string. And what you're doing here is you're sliding to put yourself in a position to bar 10, because it's basically like this D minor arpeggio if you're a theory guy. So after those 3 notes, 2 downstrokes, both 10. 10 on the B and 10 on the E. And just to be clear, those first 2 notes I'm alternate picking. I'm doing down on the 12 and then up on the 9, because then I can be in position and just go down. These 4 notes at the top are 12, 13, 12, 10, all on the E. The key though is you're actually not picking at all. Once you pick 10 on the E, you're just playing it legato. Next notes, it's a string skip. So once you play, the next 2 notes are 14 pull off to 10 on the G string. So that's pretty tricky. And then the last 4 notes, 9, hammer on to 10, pull off back to 9, all on the G, and then 12 on the D to finish it off. Little note there too, once you hit 14 on the G, once you do that pull off, none of that is picked until the very last note, which is 12 on the D. So you're going, sorry. Just to be clear. Okay, so that's the first half. Next half is similar arpeggio, but with some tapping. Here we're going to start on the downbeat this time. 8, hammer on to 12 on the D string. 9, slide to 10 on the G. Same arpeggio. Picking wise, I downstroke this one, upstroke this one. Kind of same as before. So these next notes, once you hit 10 on the E, you just do hammer-ons to 12 and 13. Here, once we get there, there's a tap, 17 on the E string. And then just pull off back to 13, 12, 10. And the last 4 notes are just, sorry, that being 12, pull off to 10 on the E string, 13 on the B, and then 10 again on the E. So these last 8 notes, so all together. All right, lick 6. Coming off this big 16th note run that ended like this, we got a big fat bend. 13 up to 15 on the B string. Make sure to give it a fuck ton of vibrato. Then you bring it down for these 3 notes. Alternate picked. 13, 10, 13 on the B string. Then we basically have 4 sets of 8th note triplets. So I'm just going to break them into the 4 sets. First 3. First 3 meaning first set of triplets. 15, 13 on the B string, and 14 on the G. Next set. 13, 15, 17, all on the B string. So what those sound like together is, and make sure you're just alternate picking all these. Set number 3 starts with a bend. What that is a bend from 17 up to 18 for the first note on the B string, and then bring it back down to 17, and then pull off to 15, all on the B string. So those 3 together. And then for the 4th one, you just repeat the formula for the 3rd one, but just down a string. This one, this time, is 17 on the G, bent up a full step to 19, and then you bring it down to 17 and pull off to 14. So those 4 triplets together, whole lick. Alright, for our 7th and final lick, we have this fun little alternate picked 16th note run. It's 4 sets of 8 16th notes, all alternate picks, so I'll break those down in their 4 respective sections. So, first set. We're starting on the G string here. 15, 14, 15, 17 on the G. Then 14, 15, 17 all on the G, and 15 on the B. That's set 1. Set 2 is that same pattern up a string. These notes being 17, 15, 17, 18 on the B, and then 15, 17, 18 on the B, 15 on the E. So those two together, they kind of go together. All alternate picked. Last two sets. First set, 17, 15 on the E, 18, 17 on the B. That's the first four notes. Last four notes are just 15 on the B, 17 on the B, 18 on the B, 15 on the E. So just that climb again. Last set. Starts off with 20 and 17 on the E, 20 and 18 on the B. Last four notes are 20 on the B, 17 on the E, 20 on the E, and then 17 on the E again. And then that last note, 20 on the E, just bent up a full step. Give it as much vibrato and hold it for as long as you can. The kind of trickiest part there is between the third and fourth set of 8/16 notes. You're on the 15 on the E here, and you have to jump to the 20 with your ring finger. So that's probably going to be a spot you might want to slow down in. So that lick again. And that is the solo. Hope this was helpful to you guys. I know, like, working without the fucking fret markers is probably a nightmare, and I'm sorry about that, but this is the guitar that I can move tunings around. I hope my explanations were somewhat clear, and happy shredding.